Okay, so we've been talking a lot about how to improve different areas of your life. And sometimes when you're new to this or when you are making changes, sometimes that can be really overwhelming when you start to look at everything in your life. And you're like, I want to change that, I want to do this, and it's exciting, but sometimes it can be overwhelming as well. And so one of the things that I like to do is I kind of chunk it down into different areas of my life. Makes it seem like it's a lot more attainable. So there are 7 main areas that I use, or that we as a team have used, and what we're encouraging you to do. And so those are, look at your financials. Look at, your money. Is your money in order? Your banking? Are you doing everything that you need to do to get your financials in order? Then the next one is your business, your professional life, your career, your job. What do you want to attain in that field? And then you can use those goals. Then the next one is your relationships, your friends, your family, your community, things along those lines would be again a separate category that we would use. And then your personal life, hobbies you like to do, things that are fun, and recreational activities, things like that. And then health and fitness, that's your own personal well-being, separate from your personal fun and recreation, but a personal goal, things that you want to work on so that you can be strong enough to be able to do all of these other things. And then finally is your contribution and your legacy, things that you want to be known for, things you want to leave behind. When you walk out of the room, what are people talking about? They're talking about the great things that you've done and how you've left an imprint on them. I think Chris has mentioned this in the past, but one of the mentors that we work with, or that I personally look up to, says you never touch someone so lightly that you don't leave a mark. And that always rings true to me. So what kind of mark are you leaving when you leave the room? So that's what would be your contribution and your legacy piece. So I think it's really beneficial. And it really, for me, it feels a lot more comfortable when I look at things in those smaller little individual areas when I'm trying to either concentrate on a goal or when I'm trying to even start to write those goals. It feels like it's a lot more attainable when I am looking at my categories rather than looking at everything that I want to change. And I think really when you get excited about making changes in your life, you want to do everything all the time. But then that can almost put you in that paralysis of fear of, oh my gosh, it's too much. So that's something that I would encourage you to do. It's helped me. I know it's helped some of my team. So I'm going to open it up to you guys and see if you've got anything that you want to add as well.
I do. Joyce, I think that's great that you brought up contribution like that, because I know when I started this whole coaching process and self-development and everything, it was like, oh, I want the house and the car and I want to change my life and I want the money and happiness. And it's like, I kind of put contribution to the side because I'm like, I don't have a lot of money now. I don't have much to contribute. And, I kind of came from that. And now that I've learned that's a limited mindset, it's fixed. It comes from a place of scarcity that I didn't have enough to give. And I think when you're doing some changes and you're doing personal growth, part of your purpose, part of your passion, part of the things that's going to excite you in life is helping other people. So it doesn't necessarily mean you got to write a $100 check every week to charity. But it might mean you help your friend with one of their problems, or you just help, someone out at work. So definitely don't put contribution to the side like I did, because once I found it, that's when things started to click for me. It's like, oh, I want to help people. Oh, yeah. I like coaching. I like teaching people this stuff. And next thing I know, the contribution is what helped tie my purpose statement and passions together. So I appreciate you saying that.
I love that. What about Joanna?
From a goal setting perspective, I love that you mentioned that. It's been probably for almost 20 years, my best friend and I get together that first weekend of New Year's and update our vision boards, do our life plan for the year beyond business. And Jack Canfield wrote a book in the 90s called The Power of Focus, and it really breaks down these 7 categories and helps you explore it a little bit. And it's very, very critical and valuable to consider those, because there's always one that needs a little more attention than the others, and that helps you focus on where maybe by quarter or by month or even by week that you can say, this is the week I really need to get my financial piece together, or this is the week that I need to dedicate to family and relationship time based on what's going on in your world. So it does help clarify some focus.
That's awesome, Joanne. I didn't know you did that every year.
Yes, every year.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been great. And before I even really understood all this work, so it was more personal growth, but now I'm so happy to be able to share it.
Yeah, that's all. I'm stealing that from you.
I love that. I love that idea. And I like what you said also about, sometimes you have areas that you need to give more focus to. And again, if you're looking at your whole life, it can feel like too much and where do I go? But when you have your individual goals, and especially if they're written down, you just pull out your finance section and go, okay, this is what I need to do. This is my plan. It doesn't seem as big as it would if it were everything in the world, right?
Yeah, and if I'm having trouble deciding which one needs to focus, I do the 1 through 10 scoring. So with 0 being it doesn't exist in my life, there's no order or rhyme to it at all, and 10 being I'm nailing it, this doesn't need any extra attention. So as I'm trying to figure out which ones to work on or help a coaching student work on, that ranking system 0 through 10 will really help. And then you can decide in what order these things need to take priority for you.
I like that.
Nice.
The hierarchy of needs.
When I think about this, for me, it's always like you want to have goals in each one of these areas, because if one isn't taken care of, it can affect the other pieces. So the one I think of is like health. A lot of people I want the money, I want this kind, I want this dollar amount, I want this for my business, and then their health suffers or their relationships suffer. You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have a great relationship, you're not going to feel like you're being successful, right? You can have all the money in the world, have a great relationship, but if your health is really impacted or struggling, then you're not going to be, really successful. So the idea here is really, when you look at all the 7 areas, like Joanna said, do you have it checked off? Like, I got this nailed, or is this some area that needs my attention? And I had this quote from my acting teacher who said, "That which hinders your task is your task." So for me, sometimes my health was my task. So I had Achilles tendonitis. It was preventing me from doing certain things. My health was being impacted. That became my task. So I had a goal set within that.
Yeah, good point, man. Good point.
Excellent. So
okay, could you recap the 7 areas real quick? Just rattle them off.
you are in my brain, Matt. I was just about to do that. So going back to our 7 areas, number 1, finances. You want to make sure that you've got those basic things in place so that you can move forward. So number 1, we have finances. We've got your business, professional career, job, whatever your aspirations are in that field. Number 3 is relationships. Number 4 is health and fitness. Number 5 is your recreation or your fun time. 6 is personal growth. And 7 is contribution and legacy.
Awesome. That's great.
All right. Well, we thank you. We are excited to be sharing this information with you, and we will see you in the next video.